Hey everybody, it's Luke Newcomer here with the Newcomer Group, and we are sitting here with Tessa Manton, owner, operator of Tula Rose, giving the first ever local spotlight. We're going to do a couple segments on this throughout our community, but we're going to dive right in. Tessa, tell us who you are, where you're from, and how you ended up in St. Augustine.
Well, thank you, Luke. Nice to be here.
Absolutely.
My name is Tessa Manson. I am the owner of Tula Rose Floral and Event Design. I grew up in Colorado in the mountains and decided to come to Florida and St. Augustine in particular for Flagler College. I wanted to go to school on the beach, and my parents said California was out of the question, so here we are.
And you never left, right?
I left for a brief time after college. I got a job working in Europe, actually.
Oh, okay.
And then came back to St. Augustine for a boy.
Fair enough. So, all right, so give us the scope of your business, day-to-day operations. I mean, tell us a little about what you do, business, operations, all that fun stuff, and then we'll dive into the questions after that.
Okay. Tula Rose Floral and Event Design is a wedding design company, or event design company. We focus on weddings primarily. Day-to-day is different every day, basically, which is why I love it. I do a lot of in-person consultations, meetings. We do specific proposal design for each one of our clients. We receive orders, we process orders, we polish decor, we manage inventory, we create floral designs, we bring them to venues, we set them up, we transition them, and we break them down and we clean it all up.
So there's a lot of moving parts, and you manage all of that yourself?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. How did you come up with the name Tula Rose? I mean, obviously there's some flower representation in that, but how did you come up with the name Tula Rose, and then does it represent anything in particular for you?
Tula is a family name.
Okay.
Rose is my middle name. I didn't want to name the company after myself particularly, but Tula Rose just kind of fit after throwing a bunch of stuff around it, you know, writing things all over chalkboards and papers, and I looked up one day and just saw Tula and Rose, and I was like, yeah, we're done. There it is.
I think it's very fitting. It's easy to remember. It sounds good. So, Tula Rose from Colorado came to Florida. How did you end up in the flower industry? Is this is it a family business? Is it something that you got into on your own? Tell us a little bit about that.
No, not a family business at all, actually. I'm one of the only event designers in my family and extended family. My aunt worked for a flower company once a long time ago, but I don't think I knew that until I started Tula Rose.
Oh.
I swept the floors at a flower shop in Colorado when I was in high school, but didn't really know much about design at that point. I got into the wedding industry at a very young age, working for catering companies and Vail Resorts, actually. And then when I moved to Florida, I worked for Serenata Beach Club. I had internships in the event industry through Flagler. After I came back from my job in Europe, I worked for, which was doing events, I worked for the White Room and then Casa Monica. While I was at Casa Monica, one of the big local boutique floral designers closed her doors, and I realized that there was going to be a massive gap in the market, and I felt that huge as an event manager. So
I love that. Supply and demand.
Yep, decided that I was going to go to flower school, concepted Tula Rose, and here we are.
Where's flower school?
I went to flower school in Boone, North Carolina.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, no. Well, I guess that's what I call it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's kind of cute, right?
Yeah, I like that.
It was through a company called Team Flower.
Okay, interesting. Now, started like on the event side of everything. You saw all the moving parts, which is probably why you're so successful with the logistics of getting everything going. Tell us about the flowers, because you did my wife and mine Sadie's wedding. It was phenomenal. If you come into her shop, you're going to see all of the amazing weddings she's done. You have gorgeous flowers. You have an amazing vision and eye for what you do. Where do you source all of these flowers from? Because obviously not all of it's local here in Florida, and you got to keep them fresh. So give us the background of where you source them from, and go ahead.
So that is a whole job of it itself.
Sure.
Flower school didn't teach us this. This is kind of what I've learned on my own. I have developed relationships with wholesalers in Jacksonville, Miami, LA, and De Leon Springs actually has a local green farm that we order from often. And those wholesalers really direct my needs, I guess. So we can reach out and say, I need this in this color scheme this time of year, and they will say, I'll source it from this country, whether it's Ecuador, Chile, Japan,
Wow.
Europe. So we pull stuff from, I don't pull, but my wholesalers pull stuff from all over the world. They repackage it and bring it to me.
It's amazing how there's so many moving parts in that, and then the people that are at the wedding or the event, it's like they don't think about what really goes into that arrangement. It's just like, oh, those are really pretty flowers.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how many moving parts there are that people really don't take into consideration with this industry as a whole.
It's crazy.
So if you're talking to the camera, little like just selfless self-promotion for you, who are you talking to? I mean, who are your customers and clients that you attract? I mean, it's not everybody. It's for events, weddings,
Right.
But who is your ideal client and the typical people you work with?
So I have obviously spent a whole lot of time thinking about this question, and
Sure.
it's one of the hardest to define in the wedding industry, is on my side of things. My client is 60 years old and third wedding, just friends and family, something small. They know exactly what they want. They've done this before. They've seen it a lot. And then I have your 22-year-old princess bride who wants absolutely everything. And the thing about the floral business and events, and it's a big education process. I have to spend a lot of time teaching my clients how this works.
Sure.
Why it's so expensive, or why this is priced this way, or what they're going to receive in an event design kind of aspect. You go to restaurants all the time, so catering doesn't seem like
Sure.
a big decision. You go order, like you can do clothing and, stuff like that all the time, but nobody orders flowers like this.
Sure.
So we just spend a lot of time talking our clients through the process, and sometimes they're really educated and sometimes they're not. And so my client, I guess, to answer that question, isn't anyone specific.
Sure.
It's definitely a bride.
Okay, so
guess.
it's definitely a bride, but it's also like, I mean, would it be correct because you've got logistics, where you're sourcing the flowers from, pricing? This is very customer service oriented too,
Yeah.
because it's just you communicating with so many people. So it's customer service oriented, but you're also probably, because you do big events, you want to network with the event planners, different
Yeah.
companies such as that. So it's not just direct to consumer. You might want to build those relationships with different events, maybe the DJ, maybe the wedding planner.
Yeah. The
Would
reason
that be
why,
accurate?
underneath all of this, the reason why Tula Rose is successful is because of my relationships with the wedding industry.
Sure. And
100%.
that's awesome. And I think that's an important aspect of itself for your industry.
Absolutely.
So what other businesses did you network with? This is kind of a follow-up. What other businesses do you network with to coordinate and ensure business runs smoothly?
Well, first and foremost, and the main and most important, is the leader, which is the wedding planner typically.
Sure. Okay.
And then venues second. Other vendors and I really just become part of their team. And so they play a big role as the leader, the coach.
Interesting. Now, as owner-operator, you had a little bit of upfront experience. You're on the event side of it all. How long has Tula Rose been in business? How many years have you been doing this for by yourself?
December this year will be 6 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, I remember when we first met, you weren't in this establishment. This was kind of your side hustle,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What were you doing full time as this was your side hustle?
I was an event service manager for the Casa Monica Hotel.
Okay. So that was a very good stepping stone into getting into this.
Yeah. And the relationships that I built there, obviously, are, like I said, a huge reason why Tula is successful today.
Sure. And it probably was a great skill set. I mean,
Absolutely.
in the restaurant industry or in the event planning industry as a whole, you're dealing with consumers on a regular basis. You understand how everybody operates differently, obviously.
Yeah, and knowing not a lot of event designers come from a background of event management, and knowing what it takes to put the whole thing together has been really helpful to ensure that we know what we're doing.
Right, fair enough.
My clients know that, showing up on time and all the things.
If you're on time, you're late, right?
Yep.
What do you feel is the most rewarding thing to you about being in business for yourself? Doesn't have to be about flowers, doesn't have to be about the logistics of it. What's the most rewarding thing for you for being in business?
The finished product. Being able to step back from an event, knowing where it started and where it landed, is really, really, really rewarding. Oftentimes I will stand in the corner and wait for the bride and groom to have their room revealed to them for the first time before their guests enter, just to see the look on their face, because that's why I do what I do.
I love that. And I know that you are very dedicated to this. First-hand experience, you did a top-notch job, but being that, our office used to be down just a couple doors down, your forerunner would be here before I got here. It'd be here after I left. It'd be here on the weekends. But you truly hustle and work really hard, and I think that shows for your clients in the finished product.
Thank you.
So I think it's awesome. If you're talking to your customers right now or potential customers, what's the best way to get a hold of them? Phone, email, text, website?
All the above.
All of the above. Before I dive in the last question, which is St. Augustine related, is there, obviously you built this business, you've got the entrepreneurial spirit in you. Do you have any other side hustles or anything else that you might be excited on launching?
Well, yes. Funny you should ask.
Spill the tea.
As we all know, our world is in a little bit of a transitionary period with the economy and pandemic,
Sure.
etc. I have noticed that it is time for our industry to pivot a little bit, at least the floral side of it. Typically when something happens in the economy, extras are the first things to be cut. And I've noticed that over the last month or two. So I decided to start an online shop by color, super simple way to order your wedding flowers. It's called The Branch by Tula Rose. So keep an eye out on our social media, and all you wedding and events people, you'll see an email from us soon.
That's super exciting. We'll definitely fill you guys in too as soon as you let us know. Maybe we can add a link to the website here. Last and final question, unrelated to your business. You're from Colorado. You're well-traveled. Why do you love St. Augustine so much?
I love St. Augustine because of two things. The small town feel. I, as an entrepreneur, don't feel like I would have been successful in a huge city environment. I really feel like there's a community around me, and the support that provides has been pretty amazing. And honestly, I can't live without the beach anymore.
I can't argue that. Awesome. Well, Tessa, thank you so much for hopping on our show. If you have any questions, you want to book Tula Rose, she is top notch. Give her a shout, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We'll catch you soon. Again, it's Luke Newcomer with the Newcomer Group, where exceeding your expectations is our standard, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks.